Today, our topic of study is quantum consciousness. Before we start, let's first do a powerful self-test to explore where we put more of our attention most of the time, whether that costs us or benefits us. For the last 24 hours, have you put more attention onto outer relative changing reality, or has your attention been more directed into your inner hermitage, still silent sanctuary, where you are already whole, already worthy, already complete, already deserving, fulfilled, healed, abundant, joy, peace, and love? That absolute changeless reality? Are you operating more from your material world mind that's constantly overwhelmed by situations, circumstances, events, people, and places, leading to self-torment, worry, and fear? Or are you practicing more on inviting your material mind with all its outer concerns to shift inward into your space of the spirit mind so that you are able to turn down the volume and noise of the outer relative changing reality to remain calm amidst chaos? Where attention goes, energy flows. And energy leaks out of our body and is depleted, wasted, leaving us tired, exhausted, with disease symptoms when attention is put onto seeking external validation, people pleasing, caretaking, accumulated bills and debt, house rent payment arrears, compounding interest on a bank loan, a relationship that's lost its spark, a disobedient curator aspirant, land grabbed by a neighbor, health issues, a career at a standstill, a business that is not breaking even, a workplace issue that's disheartening. On the other hand, when despite what's going on in the outer chaotic world, when we remember the promises awaiting us already in the realm of infinite possibilities, in the here and now of the still silent inner hermitage, all energy remains in our body. And we are elevating our vibrational frequency and we are fully charging our energy body. Imagine that with every breath you are taking in, the ever charging energy life force that floods your consciousness and fills every cell of your body with vitality. And with every exhale, you are expanding your energy body, drawing to you favorable circumstances, situations, events, people, and places, and your energy body magnetizing abundance in every area of your life, and resources and opportunities flowing to you with ease, grace, and effortlessly. It's up to you what you choose to do with your fully charged energy body that's available to you with every mindful breath. You can either focus your attention on outer problems, hence putting holes in your energy body as energy begins leaking out of these holes, inviting in roaming thought forms that hook onto your torn energy body, or you can look at outer trials from the perspective of the spirit mind, saying to yourself, this too will pass. This too will pass. This too will pass. And this instantaneously makes your energy body a transmuter, a transformer of negative energy into positive energy as you transform fear into inner love, anxiety into inner peace, sadness into inner joy, and scarcity into inner abundance. Remember, the quantum field obeys your consciousness. Where do you focus your consciousness? It took the Jews that Joseph was leading out of Egypt back to the promised land 41 years instead of 9 days from Egypt to the promised land. They were focusing more on their problems instead of the promise that was given to them. Oh, these Jebusites are as huge and we are as small as grasshoppers. How would it be if we would go back to Egypt to enjoy the meat instead of eating manna in the desert? So where do you put most of your attention? Is it on the crisis you are facing? Or that infinite possibility of abundance that is always ever awaiting you? It's your choice again. So last weekend was our first weekend of study, where the topic was Introduction to Quantum Psychology. And we looked at transcending the ordinary mind to the quantum mind and the principles of quantum physics. We haven't defined quantum psychology yet. We began the pilgrimage to evolve from the ordinary mind to the quantum mind to become who we truly are, which is consciousness. The quantum mind, the spirit mind, that mystic mind is consciousness. We are made in the image and likeness of the Creator, who is spirit, the infinite ultimate consciousness. As consciousness, we are on a physical plane in physical bodies to have dominion over physical matter and to create matter from energy with our consciousness or quantum mind. As consciousness, we can create the reality we want and affect matter with the energy of our consciousness. Quantum consciousness challenges our understanding of free will and moral responsibility. We'll look at that tomorrow. And it also challenges our nature of the self and reality, which we are going to see next week. For today, we are going to focus more on where we place our attention. We are consciousness in a physical body that is here on the physical plane to collect data with awareness of every thought, every emotion, every choice and intention and words and action we respond with as we experience how it is for us as consciousness, as spirit beings, to be in a physical body and to feel the dense energies of earth, like fear, like worry. This collected data is stored in a part of our brain that stores this quantum information. And when the body ceases to be, this quantum information collected and stored in the brain's microtubules continues as quantum information as soul back to the ultimate consciousness. What data have you been collecting? And how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel like you're having a piece of heaven on earth? Or is it as if you are experiencing hell while still in the physical body? We navigate the physical plane as absolute changeless consciousness with awareness of all the relative changing phenomena we experience while we inhabit the physical body. There is a difference between consciousness and awareness. We are consciousness that observes the relative changing reality of our thoughts and emotions and the trials we go through. And we observe all that with awareness. We are consciousness with awareness. So today we'll look at a different way of looking at consciousness. That is the quantum mind, which is the truth of who we truly are. As you listen to this class presentation now, you are aware. You are hearing this presentation. And as you observe and watch and listen to this presentation, perceptions, thoughts, emotions, and memories are being elicited. Who is observing? Who is aware? Our mind changes states through the human experience, but there is that which we are that remains ever present, aware of those changing states. It is our true nature, which is consciousness. We are consciousness. Thoughts, emotions, memories subside. What remains is consciousness itself, the background against which thoughts appear and disappear. And this consciousness is a deeper, more fundamental aspect of self, and it is distinct from the ever-changing flow of thoughts. Consciousness, who we truly are, is separate from the thoughts we think, from the emotions we feel. And consciousness isn't our thoughts, it isn't our memories, and it isn't our emotions. Consciousness does not change, but thoughts, memories, and emotions are ever changing. So imagine you are watching a movie on a TV screen. The characters and objects come and go on the screen, but the screen remains unchanged. The character can be disturbed, but the screen is not disturbed. And with no screen, characters wouldn't exist. Characters and events unfolding on the screen represent our thoughts, our feelings, our perceptions, and all the things that we go through in the external chaotic world. That screen that remains unchanged, that remains constant, that remains unaffected, while the movie's content is transient and ever-changing, is consciousness. The changeless consciousness that is the observer, observing the ever-changing phenomena, thoughts, emotions, perceptions that are the object being observed. So why do we focus on the changing reality that is relative instead of the changeless absolute reality? As you continue to listen today, it's the consciousness part of you that is listening to the words and ideas. But these ideas and thoughts and concepts are not who you are. They aren't consciousness. You are the observer observing that changing reality, those ideas and concepts. So have you ever asked yourself why we focus on things that keep on changing, like thoughts, emotions, and others people's behaviors, and our own behaviors and reactions? Who is observing all that changing reality we call relative changing reality? The observer is a part of us, and it is consciousness that is already whole, that is already complete, that is already healed and not broken. So why do we focus on the changing reality that is relative instead of the absolute and changing reality that we already are, even amidst the chaos? Let that sink in. What are you focusing on right now? What has been your experience this morning? What have you been focusing on? Have you been focusing on the changing reality? The bills, the rent to pay, the bank loan, or the absolute changeless reality that is who you really are, that consciousness that stays the same, that abundance within, that peace within, that freedom within, that gratitude within. So we've been speaking about consciousness and awareness. Let us look deeply into the difference between conscious and awareness and the relationship that the two have. Awareness and consciousness, while related, are distinct concepts. Awareness is described as a deeper understanding of perception of oneself and the world we live in. This awareness is a process of gaining insight or knowledge and the capacity to perceive something. Consciousness, on the other hand, is a state, a subjective experience in which that insight is observed and processed. Consciousness shapes how we perceive through and interpret information gathered through spiritual awareness. So consciousness is the ability to observe, to be aware of our own awareness. We are consciousness and we have awareness. And consciousness is the medium by which awareness and perception exist. Consciousness is the watchman. Consciousness is a switch that can be turned on and off to direct awareness. Awareness can be considered as a radar or a monitor, the foundation that gathers data and monitors information being gathered. While consciousness is the watchman, the structure built upon the foundation that observes the monitor, that observes the radar, that watches the radar and expands awareness. 5% of awareness is the radar that monitors information, while 95% is the consciousness, the watchman that observes the monitor. I would like to introduce you to a statement that has deep meaning. The observer is being observed. As we listen to this presentation, our individual consciousness is the observer. We as consciousness are the observer that is observing the contents of our mind. However, we are also being observed by infinite ultimate consciousness, a supreme all-encompassing awareness that observes our individual consciousness and the universe as a whole. If we elevate the level of our consciousness beyond our minds, we can watch our minds, and the mind realizes that the observer is also being observed. So consciousness is in the realm of the observer, observing the observer, who is observing the object. And this is a key idea of Jiddu Krishnamurti, emphasizing the interconnectedness of all things. The observer and the observed are ultimately one and the same. So we as individual consciousness, we are one with the ultimate consciousness that is observing us. And the objects being observed by our individual consciousness are our ever-changing phenomena. And the observer observing the ever-changing phenomena is our lower self, our body and mind, or avatar. That unseen observer observing our lower self, our body, mind, or avatar is the ultimate consciousness, the all that is God. We go to the relationship between the ordinary mind and the quantum mind or consciousness. We are beginning to see the difference between the ordinary mind and the quantum mind or consciousness. The ordinary mind, the ordinary classical mind views mental processes as explained by classical physics and neural networks in our brain. And our quantum mind theory says that consciousness requires phenomena from quantum mechanics to fully explain its unique properties. And we've looked at transcending the ordinary mind towards the quantum mind, where the ordinary mind is seen as a physical entity, unaware of the level beyond the physical. The ordinary mind is localized. It is confined to the physical plane. An ordinary mind is limited with a limited way of assessing living and life, and it plays small, and it focuses on survival rather than infinite opportunities. And it is seen as an individual separate mind, distinct from collective consciousness with a singular perspective that's not shared by anyone. And this ordinary mind is finite, and it is a restricted nature of human comprehension, perceiving life and the world through the five senses. The quantum mind, on the other hand, is part of a larger field of consciousness, of the universal mind. It is more interconnected, it is non-localized, and it is not confined to a specific limited area, and it extends beyond the physical body into the cosmos, and it is connected to universal information and intelligence, and it can be instantaneously connect to all creation and the entire cosmos. It extends beyond individual boundaries and can be entangled with other minds, and it can tap into the quantum field of infinite opportunities and possibilities, and it can access multiple versions of ourselves existing in the field. And it can be involved in quantum phenomena like intuition, extrasensory perception, and premonition. And this quantum mind is pure when it is left to rest easily, untouched by chaos, and capable of influencing matter, circumstances, situations, and events. So this quantum mind or quantum consciousness is a new paradigm of reality. And this second weekend, the topic is quantum consciousness. And classical physics looks at consciousness differently from how quantum physics looks at it. Classical physics defines consciousness as a subjective experience of every perception, cognition, or mental event, like feeling love or compassion, or suffering and hostility, or sexual pleasure or religious ecstasy, while quantum consciousness or non-dual consciousness is defined as oneness. As individual consciousness, we are ultimate consciousness. We are one with all things that have a level of consciousness within them. And panpsychism is the belief that consciousness might exist at some level in all things, an interconnected web of relations, a single undivided reality where everything is interconnected and interdependent, where individual awareness isn't isolated, but part of the unified cosmic field, linking all beings and matter. So quantum consciousness or non-dual consciousness is defined as oneness. And two, it is defined as a pure undivided space of awareness without mental noise, without projection, without judgment. And three, it is defined as a fundamental, undifferentiated, non-local awareness of reality. And this is according to Deepak Chopra. And number four, it is defined as a non-dual state of the eternal now, a sense of being inherently part of everything around us, where we are everything and everything is us. And five, it is defined to be beyond the dualistic way of thinking, good or bad, self or other, mind or body, subject or object. This is where we get to see unity in the world of opposites. And lastly, it is defined as a choiceless awareness. And that means perceiving reality without judgment or justification. What is consciousness according to quantum physics? According to quantum physics, consciousness is a quantum field of energy by which the conscious thinking mind is aware of perception of everything, everything and everything. It's that field of energy known as the unified quantum field, the infinite field, the all source or God, or the field of all possibilities. So consciousness resides in the unified quantum field of all that is now, that will be, and was. And most of us are only utilizing about 4 to 5% of our total potential of consciousness. And there is 96 yet to be developed. As we develop more of our innate consciousness, we also develop the means of our bodies embodying the increased expression of consciousness, and anything is possible when we get to that point. Our greater potential lies dormant. It is awaiting activation. And this requires us to be inspired and motivated to do so. Are you? Are you? Are you? Let me take you deeper into the groundwork for quantum consciousness. Near-death experiences lay the groundwork for quantum consciousness. And this might blow your mind. Research into near-death experiences in conjunction with quantum physics opens the possibility that consciousness is a form of energy or information that is not limited to a physical form and may persist after the death of the body. And consciousness persists after death as quantum information, as soul, and is released from the brain's microtubules back into infinite consciousness. So in near-death experiences, according to Hemeroth, the microtubules lose their quantum state, but the information within them is not destroyed. Instead, this information is distributed and dissipates back into the universe at large. So what if the world isn't unconscious matter, but a living field of consciousness, and we are just one window into it? What does that mean for us? If we are not our thoughts, if we are not our past, not even our physical body, what appears to us as a world made of matter from our localized perspective is, from the point of view of reality, the activity of one infinite consciousness. There are no independent existing things or bodies or people. There is one infinite, indivisible whole, the unity of being that is refracted into an apparent diversity or multiplicity of objects, things, and bodies. When the one looks at its own activity through the perceiving faculties of the infinite mind. We may appear diverse, but we are one. And there is much more to the world than the finite mind. The world is not solely defined by our individual limited perceptions or finite minds. It is inherently connected to a broader universal consciousness. The limitations of our finite mind give the world its appearance. We are seeing the world through the lens of our perceiving faculties, which gives it its appearance. So, we are not a human being trying to become more aware. We are already consciousness and having a spiritual experience in a physical body. Before this consciousness that we are leaves the body as quantum information, as soul. And as consciousness, we aren't stuck when we are still in the physical body on a physical plane called Earth. We aren't limited. We aren't broken. We are the base in which all life is happening, and that can never be taken away from us. Expanding and evolving our consciousness, therefore, is crucial for mastering the complexities of life and the tribulations and the trials in order to make better choices, in order to respond, not to react. Because this changing phenomena that we experience is not our true self. And we can retire identifying with the changing phenomena of our ego, those changing emotions, those changing thoughts, those changing behaviors, situations, places, and bodies of ego identity. And when we do that, we relax to be part of our consciousness that is unchanging. As we get deeper into consciousness. Classical connections between neurons cannot explain consciousness. And there is a new explanation according to quantum physics. So to explore consciousness, we look beyond the brain into the mysterious realm of quantum mechanics. And answers may lie in the mystical and elusive world of quantum phenomena. Classical neuroscience cannot fully explain this subjective experience of the quantum. And this subjective experience is known as qualia, because this qualia is a subjective or qualitative property of what we experience and what it feels like when we are experiencing it. And qualia or subjective experiences are units of experience that a human can have, like sensation, like sound, like image, like shape, like appearance or colors. So we can have visual qualia or visual subjective experience. We can have audio qualia or audio subjective experience. We can have sensate qualia, taste qualia, olfactory qualia, or thought qualia, emotional qualia as well. So qualia, or that subjective experience, is a moment of conscious awareness when we feel the world from inside our brain. What philosophers call the raw feelings. Our ability to connect physical phenomena to these raw feelings inside our brain. Our inability to explain and share our own internal qualia is known as the explanatory gap. How does a column of neurons in our brain give rise to this subjective qualia? Philosophers like David Chalmers give this question a name. They call it the hard problem of consciousness. And Newtonian physics struggles to account for how physical brain processes give rise to consciousness subjective experiences. And this hard problem of consciousness can be explained by a theory known as the integrated information theory, which we'll look at very deeply next week. For now, let us look at the principles and how they apply to consciousness. And remember, our first principle is superposition. How does that apply to consciousness? And superposition is where particles exist in several states simultaneously. We can identify with multiple roles and personalities and identities at once and have multiple identities or self-perception that can exist simultaneously, such as an individual who is a student in this class right now. And after the class, he or she will be a parent or a friend or a worker. And these different facets of identity can be seen as existing in a state of superposition until a particular context or situation forces a particular identity to be identified. Right now, as you are listening, the particular context that has been identified is of you as a student in this class. Our second principle of entanglement, how does it apply to consciousness? And entanglement is where particles remain interconnected regardless of distance. And quantum processes allow these quantum processes allow for instantaneous connections between different parts of the brain or even different observers. Right now at this course, each one of you is an observer, and you are different observers, but you are entangled together as you listen to this class. Our third principle is quantum non-locality. How does that apply to consciousness? And consciousness is non-local, not bound by physical space and time, for instantaneous connections with the quantum field so that we can access information. And particles can know the state of each other, and this can lead to intuition, it can lead to instinct, to telepathy, and extrasensory perception. The fourth principle is the observer effect, which says that the act of observing a particle or observing a phenomena inevitably changes its behavior. Awareness and observation shape reality. And so that means that rather than being passively engaged, we are active participants. Our fifth principle is coherence and decoherence. And coherence is where particles remain synchronized in a shared, sustained state of superposition in multiple possible states simultaneously, rather than in a single definite state. And quantum coherence is maintained in the microtubules. And when a collapse happens, then the coherence is lost and the system loses its coherence and behaves more classically, and this is what we call decoherence. As we end this presentation, are you ready to awaken the power within you? That consciousness, so as to be able to create your own reality. Remember, the field obeys our quantum mind or consciousness. So diving into the concept of consciousness, we enter a realm where thoughts, feelings, and perceptions aren't just internal experiences, but potential quantum events that can influence reality. We aren't passive observers, but an active participant in the creation of our own world. We are in a realm of the tiniest, where we are constantly interacting with the quantum world, with the micro world. And this interaction shapes our reality in the macro world. Ernest Holmes, doctor, taught that consciousness is the power within us. It is a divine creative force that shapes our reality. Are we ready to recognize it? We aren't powerless in the face of life's challenges, but we can be co-creators of our reality. We will not sleepwalk through life, powerless, trapped by circumstances. We are a conduit for the intelligent, creative energy that weaves the existence of reality. And it flows through us every moment of every day. Are we ready to recognize it? because we are not separate from this power. We are an expression of it. And every thought, every emotion, every belief taps into this divine energy, which responds to our thoughts, our beliefs, and emotions, shaping circumstances of our lives. Our mind is like a magnet, attracting experiences that match the inner state of our thoughts and emotions. If we focus on lack and limitation, we will find ourselves surrounded by more of the same. If we learn, on the other hand, to harness the power of our thoughts and align them with the unlimited abundance of the universe, we aren't a victim of circumstances, but a creator of our reality. And this is what Holmes calls the science of mind. The understanding that our mind or our consciousness is the link between the infinite potential of the divine, the micro world that is unseen, and the tangible world of our experience, the world of the macro that we can see, where we can touch that reality. And this is the process of aligning our mind with the infinite creative force. And this is where science and spirituality, this is where the unseen wave and physical matter meet to transform our reality. We are already using this power every day without realizing it. Holmes gives us a tool he calls the mental switch, or the switch of consciousness, to align with this creative force of infinite possibilities already within. And when the switch is flipped on, it aligns our mind to instantly shift our focus through connecting us with the divine mind to attain complete power transformation. Are you ready? So consciousness is a switch. It can be turned on and off to consciously direct our attention and awareness to engage and redirect the universal mind. And thoughts and emotions create a mental equivalent which attracts similar experiences into our lives. It helps us shift our mental equivalent. Thoughts and emotions vibrate at specific frequencies, influencing our experiences. And this enables us to shift our vibrational frequency. And it's the power to change our thoughts, our feelings, and our belief. Fear and worry vibrate at the lowest frequency, whereas love, peace, and abundance vibrate at a higher frequency. We have to operate the switch to turn on the light of understanding and keep it turned on. And this is the power of the mind. We aren't just observers, but active participants in creating our world by shifting our inner landscape of our thoughts and emotions, influencing our perception and attracting corresponding events through focus, through awareness, through alignment and choice, and intentional action. So you can use this mental switch anytime. When you are facing a challenge, flip the switch on. If you're feeling stuck and uninspired, flip the switch on. When feeling overwhelmed with negativity, flip that switch on. Even when things are going well, flipping the switch on reinforces our connection to the creative energy that flows through all things, and it charges our energy body full charge. And the more we practice, the stronger our connection becomes, and the more our energy field is fully charged. Let's go through a meditation. With your eyes closed, take a deep breath in through the middle of your brain region. There is an egg-shaped structure known as the thalamus in the middle of your brain. And this thalamus is the gateway to the mind. This thalamus is the gate of consciousness. And remember, consciousness is a switch that can be turned on and off, directing your attention and awareness. Continue breathing in through this egg structure known as the thalamus. Imagine and visualize flipping on the switch in your thalamus, releasing a powerful flow of positive energy that floods your consciousness and fills every cell of your body. Flipping it on activates your connection to the creative force, to the quantum infinite field of infinite possibilities. This bioenergy activating switch is present inside everyone. It ignites your consciousness to instantaneously connect with the divine mind and transmute your challenges into positive energies of love, joy, peace, and abundance from lack, turmoil, anxiety, and fear. And your brain responds as if the connection of this power is already real and active. Because neuroscience has shown that visualization or imagination activates the same neural pathways as physically performing an action. So each time you flip the switch on that is in your thalamus, you are choosing to engage with life fully as a co-creator rather than a passive participant. And as you flip that switch on in your thalamus, in the middle of your brain, visualize a golden warm energy flowing through from the top of your head, through every cell of your body, and flooding your entire consciousness. Right from your head down to the toes and the soles of your feet. See yourself as a conduit for that creative energy, releasing a powerful flow of positive energy to create your desired reality. You know what your desired reality is. Feel the shift. Feel your body respond emotionally as if you've already created that reality. You can continue with this exercise for as long as you need. And when you're ready, you will gently open your eyes and smile and get back into the space that you were in. So what insights have you gotten about you as consciousness with the ability to influence the ever-changing relative reality you experience while you are still in the physical body on this physical planet called Earth? I wish you all the best in being a co-creator of your own reality. Enjoy your evening. Have a good night's sleep. Namaste.